Valentini, Training for Life. I'm also certified for Southwestern Consulting and Coaching, which is a fantastic program, and for the PQ Coach, Mental Health Coaching, which is in line with my years of talking about the acorn brain, right? The little small minded thinker that exists in all of us and that limits us, even though we live. If you look at this is the globe painted on a marble. It's probably bigger than what in relation to our size in the universe. Can you imagine that? So, sales people and sales leaders, they limit themselves in their mind. And usually they're making judgments about people on their team instead of looking at how can you help them win. Number one, the question to answer is, are they living in their calling or their passion? If they're just working and struggling, they've got the wrong mindset for the job they're doing. If they're just working for a paycheck, there is very little you can do to motivate them because it's our job each individually to motivate ourselves. And so often, what salespeople do and then leaders do is that leaders are whipping the ox instead of pushing the cart, if you get the analogy. The first thing to figure out by talking with people is, are they loving what they do? Are they living their true purpose and calling? Do they understand what they're selling? And what I mean by that is, do they understand that what you're selling, whether it's a service or a product, is it helping others? Can it benefit others? Can it alleviate some of their challenges or pain, as a lot of sales programs like to call it? Find the pain. What I talk about is helping people find the fit. But if your people aren't passionate about your product, your service, their role in it, and the reason that they're doing this work in a universe, think about that, right? In a universe, they found your company or you found them. If they lose that edge, that awe, that they found their purpose and calling, well, guess what? There's nothing you can do to motivate them. And everybody they see senses it. Everything is an energy in life. And so if your people are living paycheck to paycheck, or they're doing your work until they can find something else, or they're doing their job except they're living in their head, listening to that acorn brain that I call it, that small-minded thinker, that little voice that I have. I suspect everyone has it. If they're listening to that little voice, it's small-minded thinking. It'll often point out all the challenges, all the problems, all the mistakes, instead of looking at all the possibilities. Wherever we are, we have limitless possibilities. I mean, think about what happened yesterday in Eclipse. We're floating on one of those little balls called an Earth. And also floating is the moon, which blocked the sun so that we couldn't see it temporarily. Or we saw it with those little glasses. Remembering that we live in a miracle and that if people don't have passion, or at least understand that what they do and the product they sell or the service they sell is a gift for other companies, helping them improve their productivity, improve their appearance, improve their workplace, improve the environment. If they don't understand that, then they're just going through the motions, which is why they enroll for sales training that talks about tactics and techniques. Tactics are tacky. I write about it in my book, Helping People Buy. Dave Brown writes about being authentic and knowing that you're there to serve people in his book, Servant Selling. Very similar approaches because that's what's working today. That's what buyers find attractive, is people that have an energy and an enthusiasm and a passion for the work they do because it's helping others. Now, what's missing if you're not looking to help others? Well, typically what's missing is that mindset. They could care less about helping others. They're only in it for themselves, for their own goals, for their own pocketbook. I'm not saying their pocketbook is a bad thing. It's not a great motivation. It means they have, I'm going to say it with emphasis, commission breath, and it stinks. They're often pushing people, and they're trying tactics that some sales trainer, I was listening to a guy on the radio the other day shouting, he's the best sales trainer in the world. I don't want anybody shouting at me. I don't know about you. I don't. If I'm looking for something, I want someone I can have a conversation with that'll tell me in their experience. Here's how we've helped people like you, Steve. Here's how we've helped people sell more books. Here's how we've helped people enroll more coaching clients. Here's how we've helped people build their email list. Does it sound like a fit for you? And when they ask me enough questions to get to know me and then understand my business, I'm more willing to consider what they're offering. I can tell you, I still have people reach out to me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I got this great product. I'd like to talk to you about it. Can we schedule a few minutes? They never asked anything about me. They didn't spend any time to get to know me. On LinkedIn, that's a great thing to do, is get to know people. Ask them how you can help them. Hey, how can I help you with my contacts and my clients? People walking by my office. They're gathering around. There's an audience clamoring for what I have to sell them. I have a conversation with people, and I enjoy having conversations with people that reach out to me offering their help, which is what I do on LinkedIn. Someone reaches out to me and says, hey, Steve, how can I help you? What's your target audience? What's your target client? How can I help you with my contacts? What are you looking for? What's a good fit for you? I align with them because that's what I do. I'm looking to help people in my life. Now, there's a reason for that, because I had a near-death experience 21 and a half years ago. It'll be 22 years, November 18th this year. It happened on November 18th, 2002. And so I carry that wonderful gift with me. But what that experience did was uncover what I was supposed to be doing all along. Because before that, I was fighting life. When you fight life, life fights you. That's Eckhart Tolle says that. And I didn't quite understand that, even though I had read it in his book, The Power of Now. I didn't understand that until after the experiences I had beginning on November 13th, 2002, and then 5 days later, flatlining. And then 60 days in the hospital, and 40 out of the next 60, and 6 months out of work. I gave up all the ideas I had about how my life was going to be. I surrendered to what life was showing me. And that's where I developed a passion for helping people by coaching. I had been with salespeople all my life, hired salespeople, managed salespeople, had them in my businesses, then sold my businesses and worked with salespeople for the people that I sold my business to. And what I noticed is the people that were just in it for the money were often struggling, working much harder than they had to. They forgot they're living in a miracle. Many who claim to be very religious were missing the gift that their Creator was trying to impart on them during difficult times. It's in our challenges that we can find our true calling, by looking for the gift, by viewing life as a friend. And that's what most leaders and most salespeople aren't doing. What they're doing is this. The leadership is saying, what did you close lately? We got a goal and we got to get to it. And then the salespeople are running around saying, I got to find a sale. Then they're pushing people and they have commission breath. As I said before, it stinks. So the company needs an alignment first from leadership. It's from the top down. The leadership has to change and get to the bottom of the pyramid. They have to become servant leaders by enrolling their team in the good that they do. The good that they do, not the money that they make. Money's wonderful. I suggest sharing it. If you're not tithing, which is giving a tenth to your source of spiritual support, my source of spiritual support are things like St. Jude's Hospital, Tunnels to Towers, the Franklin Food Pantry, Bonton Farms. Look that up, the work that Darren Babcock does at Bonton Farms in Texas. If you can't support them, I don't know that you would ever support anybody. So rather than give it for me, my spiritual support comes from helping others. And so I give 10% or more. I won't share that whole amount, but it's more than 10% to people on this earth that are doing good. It's doing good that matters. Now, I'm not trying to enroll you or convince you. What you choose to do is your business. And I suggest that you experiment with your life and change your point of view from pushing, doing a job, trying to reach goals, and just running people over to get where you want to go. Maybe it's a promotion, or maybe you want to sell something, and you're really not present with people. You're missing the gift if you're not present with them and offering a conversation that says, let's find the fit. Let me figure out, I'll ask you some questions, and you'll probably ask me a lot of questions, and then we'll figure out together if what we do can help you in your business. As I said, increasing their productivity or solving challenges, helping their employees. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe it's selling a software as a service. Maybe it's medical devices, and your patient care and your clinical department is the best around because your focus is patients first. That'd be how you would start a conversation. Hey, we're really focused on patients first. So how are your patients experiencing the services you're using now or the equipment you're using now? How's it serving you in your practice? If you did change it, what would you need to change? What would you look for? What would you hope we could do if it was us? Let's just suppose it's us. It's getting to a place where you don't worry about tactics or techniques because you have a passion for what you do. You have a conversation. If it's a fit, fine. If it's not a fit, fine. You will know it if you have the conversation. And that back and forth is an attractive energy. See, a pushing energy. Feel that as I push toward the camera. There's only one way you can run from somebody that's pushing. That's away. But if you're having a dialogue, it draws people in because they know you're curious to see if what you sell, if what your company does, if the service you provide, the products you provide, is a fit for them or not. If you can help them by relieving some of their challenges and or problems. Can you improve the culture in the workplace maybe if you're a coach or a trainer? Do you have evidence of that? I have clients for 23 and 20 years and 15 years and 10 years that have changed their lives. And because I'm around that long, by the way, we can discuss when my work is helping and when it's not, and then we can adjust it. More often, what I talk to them about when things aren't working in their life is where are they not working in their mind? George Ivanovich Gurdjieff once said that, well, he probably said it 1,000 times, that little voice in our head is called the machine. He said, will you let the machine run you, or will you run the machine? Rainer Maria Rilke in the 1800s called that voice the little hooligan. And he said a similar thing. Will you let that little hooligan run you, or will you run it? And when companies are struggling or parts of their sales team are struggling, there's a missed connection from leadership, number one. Leadership has to take responsibility for and accountability for it. Because that sets an example, by the way. When you take accountability, it models that behavior amongst your team. You might have salespeople that start to say, well, I've got to change things up. There's something I'm missing. Yeah, it could begin in their mindset. What's their mindset? Maybe they need a coach. And when I talk about the habits of top producers often have coaches. I would say probably 90% of the time or more, they have a coach. Training is good. Top producers, though, are students of the game. They're doing their own reading, their own study. They're going to seminars. They're going to training. And like I said, they often enroll a coach to help them look at things differently. Darren Hardy has a prayer. He's a great author. And when you look at what he writes and what he talks about, Darren Hardy says, here's a prayer. God, help me see things differently. And God, give me guidance, information, and direction. Why I'm sharing that is it's important. Top producers have a higher power. Now, do all of them? No. There's many that are top drivers, and they end up burning themselves out or working a lot harder because they're competing in a way with others, right? In their mind, they want to be number one, the top dog. It's a waste of energy. I worked with salespeople over the years that all they did was brag how great they were. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to have some humility and know that you don't know it all. In fact, those are the most interesting people that are empty. You can pour into them. Those that say they know it all and they're always bragging about their success and how good they are, those are the people that have no room to pour into them. Now, I'm not saying that's not wonderful. It could be. I don't know. I'm not in their head. I would imagine that a lot of that bravado comes from a deep-seated lack of self-confidence, that they're overcompensating for a feeling inside their head. They're listening to that brain that says, that little voice that says, you're not good enough. Don't ever let people do better than you because it'll show they're better than you. Managing salespeople today is about understanding what's the culture in the company, number one. What is the value we provide to our customers? What are we helping them with? What do they say about us? What's our reputation? I work with a client who has a wonderful reputation, and they've always had the idea that no matter what it takes, they're going to satisfy a customer, even if it costs them a lot of money and they made a mistake somewhere along the line. And they do whatever it takes. And their company continues to grow every year because of who they are, not what they are, because of who they are as people. So who are you? Who are you as a company? If your goal is just monetary and you're always pushing the goals, here's where we're going, here's what we're going to do with the money, here's how much bonus you're going to get. What did you close lately? It's madness because you're all in it together. So now, if you have salespeople that are struggling, first understand, do they really love what they're doing? Do they understand your mission as a company, how you're helping people? Have you fallen down on that somewhere, not helping them? If they do have a passion and they're struggling a little bit, go back to the behavior, kind of like hypnosis. Ask them, all right, let's go back to 3 and 4 years ago when you were doing great. What's the difference? Tell me, what were you doing then that you're not doing now? Help them uncover the behavior that'll get them back producing. And it doesn't have to be the language of, well, let's get you back on the leaderboard. That's craziness. Let's get you back to the behaviors you were doing when it worked, and then let's see what the result is from that. Because sales success is behavior based, but not just about dialing and calling and learning techniques and tactics and pushing to close. If they have the right behaviors, it's also what is the energy that they're projecting when they're on a sales call? Are they pushing? Here's the reason people push. And top producers know this. Their top producers are not attached to outcomes. They're detached from outcomes. You can't control an outcome. I want to meet the person that says they can control others. Outcomes are not your job. Behavior is your job. And then having the energy that's inviting. And how do you control that? You do that by living on purpose. If you're not living your calling right now, but you have a sales job, love it until you find what you want to do. Because how you show up anywhere is how you show up everywhere. And when you bring that devotional attention and energy to every moment, even if you're not living your calling, if you bring that attention everywhere, then when the door opens to your calling, you'll also bring that. And it's been said that the doors open more easily once you begin bringing that absolute devotional attention to everything you do, everything, including feeding the dogs or cutting the grass or washing the car or driving to the store or spending time with your family and your loved ones, bringing full attention everywhere. Doors will open for you. And top producers do that. They bring their full attention to everything they do. In other words, they don't do anything half-assed. Not too slow. I'm not too fast. I'm half-fast. That's no good. And it isn't about speeding through everything. It's about what some of the prophets have said. Christ said everything works together for good. Muhammad said what reaches you was never meant to miss you. So if it shows up, don't rail against it. Don't fight life. They embrace what shows up. It might be a little speed bump, but they look at the possibilities. They say, top producers say, what's the gift in this? Maybe life is redirecting me. Rejection could be redirection. Life itself saying, whoa, you got to change things. You might be pushing, you're missing something, you're not really there fully present, you're not there to help people. And then we bring ourselves back to that. Because top producers aren't perfect. They fall into some bad habits. They catch it because they look at life as a gift. And when things aren't working, they're looking for the gift. What's the gift in this? Top producers are also very good at their self-talk. They don't listen to this acorn brain 24/7. Now, we all listen to it at some point in time. I listen to it. I've been teaching this for 25 years, and I listen to it. From time to time, I catch myself. When I catch myself, I go back to what's the possibility here? What is the gift in this? What is life asking me to do? What is life asking me to change? Because I know life is a friend. At 11 o'clock, I have another video on finding inner peace and is there such a thing as inner peace. I'll share more about my near-death experience and how that changed my life. But I can tell you for sure, we do live in something amazing that we don't understand. I don't care how close physicists think they are to finding the answers to this universe. We're probably as far off today as the Incas and the Aztecs were thousands of years ago, when they were sacrificing babies and princesses and pretty people to satisfy the gods. We're that far off today. We have no idea how amazing this miracle we live in. Just think about how Einstein answered these questions. When he was asked, "What's your idea of God?" he would answer it two ways. The first, often he'd say, "The superior reasoning power that created this unimaginable universe forms my idea of God." So, as he was doing research on the origins of the universe, how it all worked mathematically, the closer he got to that work, the more amazed he was at whatever created this, right? The superior reasoning power. Then he would often answer it this way. So, these were the two ways. People would say, "What forms your idea of God?" And he would say, "Read The God of Spinoza." Baruch Spinoza in the 1600s wrote this piece called The God of Spinoza, and it became his philosophy. It actually ended up getting him shunned from his worship group. He later changed his name to Benedict Spinoza, so you can look up Benedict Spinoza or Baruch, Baruch Spinoza. Read that. It's fascinating. I wonder, in fact, if he did also have a near-death experience, and back then it wasn't shared. People didn't talk about near-death experiences in the 1600s. They're only getting more comfortable with it now, starting maybe in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, going forward. So top producers manage their mind. They run their mind. Not 100% of the time. No one would get to 100%. Top producers have a coach. Top producers are students of the game. Top producers and leaders understand they're all in it together. And they understand, first and foremost, what their value is. How are they helping people in their marketplace? What differentiates them? They work on their reputation. It's patient first, client first, customer first. And then it's the employees next, and then the shareholders, and then the leadership. They reverse the pyramid. They're pushing the ox cart. They're not whipping the ox. Think about that. They get in the trenches with their people, not doing the work, but reminding them of the value they provide with the work they do, that it's a gift, helping people find the passion for it. Top producers are also grateful. They take gratitude breaks. They think about what they're grateful for during the day. Maybe they write it down in a journal first thing in the morning or later on in the evening. They write down what they're grateful for, 4 or 5 gratitudes. Maybe they have a gratitude call or a gratitude partner, but they're always looking at the blessings in life. And how do we help with this? I help with it by coaching people using these principles that I've talked about. And whether it's in my book, Helping People Buy, or Dave Brown's book, Serve & Selling, who's one of the senior partners of Southwestern Consulting, look up Southwestern Advantage. They're the parent company of Southwestern Consulting. Southwestern Advantage has been hiring and training salespeople for 100 and something years, college students for over 100 years. And so on semester breaks, they taught them over 100 years ago to not go door to door selling Bibles. Today it's selling educational materials. Still doing it, hiring sales teams every year. Kids that are freshmen in college, during their semester, they learn how to go door to door and sell educational materials. And then, of course, the second, third, and fourth year people are coaching the first year people. And then a lot of those people over the years became judges, senators, congressmen. They became leaders, business owners. And a lot of them are today part of Southwestern Consulting. That's how it was born. It was born out of Southwestern Advantage. So we've been hiring, training, and coaching salespeople for over 100 years. And at some point in time, about 10 or 15 years ago, the leadership said, why aren't we doing this for business to business? How we hire, coach, train people in sales. And so now we're sharing that wisdom that we've learned over the years with people in business. Now, if I ever tell you I found the way to do anything, run away. I talk about that in all of my books. If you go to Amazon, you'll see all the books I've written. Some of them are a little edgy, like you might be full of shit if. And or the next book I wrote that is the companion to that book is You Might Be Full of Number Two. After All We Know Better, the woke edition. And if you buy those books, you'll note that I don't make fun of anyone. I'm talking about having a dialogue. Having a dialogue. Instead of doing this, we're all making each other wrong. Monday morning quarterbacking has become a sport. It's easy to be right after the decision has been made. You want to have that same energy, having a dialogue with people in sales. That's what top producers do. They're not worried about closing everyone. They're wondering if it's a fit. Do they line up with our best clients? Do they line up with our good clients? Do they line up with the ones that aren't so great? Because then it wouldn't be a fit. These are all things that top producers do naturally after they train themselves to do it. They weren't born with this. Let me ask you a question. Did you get up and walk when you first tried it without falling? Did you learn how to walk without falling? No, it's the same in sales. I've been doing this for many years, since 1970. And I can tell you, I'm still learning. How could I ask my clients to be students of the game if I wasn't willing? All right, any questions, you can email me, steve@stevelentini.com or slentini@southwesternconsulting.com. I'm glad to help. Thank you all.